Hey, this is Kyle Madson with your top stories on Sports 1140. The Kings beat the Thunder last night 131-120 in Oklahoma City. De'Aaron Fox had 22 points and 10 assists. Iman Shumpert had a team-high 26 points. Marvin Bagley had a good game as well, 13 points and 7 rebounds off the bench. Sacramento gets tonight off. They wrap up their road trip in Denver on Tuesday. The Nuggets are undefeated. They're coming off a 198 win over the Warriors. The 49ers, they did not get a win yesterday. They were pounded at home by the Rams 39-10. Week 7 of the NFL wraps up tonight with the Giants visiting the Falcons in Atlanta. We'll have that game for you right here on Sports 1140 with kickoff slated for 5:15. Those are your top stories, and now it's back to the drive on Sports 1140 KHT. Okay.
Rise and shine, sleepyhead.
I'm not letting you go to work today.
Wait, what? Hey now. Everybody, listen up.
Welcome to The Drive.
That's what she said. You're going to talk.
Get on the phone at 339-1140.
Pretty awesome, huh?
Jump in on our text line at 441140.
Everyone is talking about it. You must know that.
The Drive starts now.
Tomorrow on the show, we'll have Matt Barrows on at 8:05, wrapping up the Niners week. Scott Barrows the week off Wednesday. We'll fill that spot with somebody. I think maybe somebody Sacramento Kingsy. Thursday, Sam Amick gives us a look at the NBA from his point of view. And then Friday, of course, Sean Salisbury and Dave Richard. Want to remind you, you can watch the show. You can watch it. Go to KHTK.com. If you're on a desktop, it's right at the top of your screen. If you're on your phone or your tablet, just scroll down towards the middle. You'll see the player, brought to you by Jiffy Lube and the Sacramento Republic. And all the shows are on the KHTK YouTube page.
Talked to Matt Barrows yesterday. He's really excited to talk about yesterday's game on our radio show.
I'm calling to talk to Matt Barrows. When did you talk to Matt Barrows?
I went to the Niner game yesterday.
Oh.
Had a credential and everything. It was great.
Oh.
Yeah.
I had a lot of people I knew going to the Niner game yesterday.
You didn't see all my pictures from pregame
Yeah.
on Twitter?
I just forgot about it.
Oh, okay, yeah. For sure.
I was totally following that. I'm hearing a lot of things about, before we get into football, I'm hearing a lot of things about this haunting of Hill House.
Yeah, I've heard great things. I've also heard really good things about the new Halloween movie.
Yeah, well, that killed it at the box office, pun intended.
Nice, dude. You took a stab at that joke and
thanks. Yeah, I did. Nope, not doing it. Yeah, I've heard a lot about this. I like scary things. I don't like gory scary because I think it's dumb.
Sure.
It's a cop-out. Like, oh, okay, well, you chop someone's leg off. That's super scary. No, that's just gross. And I don't like gory scary. I don't like zombies. Zombies are dumb to me, too. I miss the whole zombie thing. Like Walking Dead, I hear it's really good, and it probably is, but I just don't like zombies.
You can stop watching Walking Dead after, like, season 3.
Okay, well, that's still 3 quality seasons.
Like, spoiler alert, they're zombies.
Yeah.
They're going to find a place they think is a safe haven. Turns out it's not.
Right.
They leave.
Somebody gets infected.
Right. They leave.
You think one's dead,
find
but it's
a new
not.
place.
Yeah. Like, vampires are so much more interesting than zombies to me. What is neat about a zombie? It's dumb.
I have a problem with Walking Dead zombies, which, like, you can hit a light jog and get away from them. Like World War Z zombies, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Although they're not really zombies, I guess, but still.
Dumb. Get off me with gore. Get off me with zombies.
Wow, Dave hates Frank Gore. Unbelievable.
Yeah, not a Hall of Famer. I like creepy scary. I like scary where when I go to bed and I hear a noise, like I'm kind of freaked out. I like scary where I got to open up the shower curtain every time I use the bathroom because I don't know what's behind it, like in The Shining.
Dude, that messed me up. So the green lady in the bathtub messed me up for so long.
Trivia question, by the way, trivia answer here. That old lady in the bathroom, first naked lady I ever saw in my life. Boom, right there. That was my first movie nudity.
That explains.
Was The Shining.
So much.
I didn't expect that. Boy, did that end differently than it began in that movie, huh? With that nude scene?
Hey, did you see that Oklahoma State is wearing 1988 Barry Sanders style throwbacks?
Well, I'm fine with that.
That's so sick.
I don't have an issue with that.
That's so far.
let's get into football, and I want to start with the thing I should probably end with real close to a break so it doesn't completely derail the show.
Uh-oh. You're doing it.
We'll talk about the Eagles and Panthers game because it was an interesting game, but quite the interesting scene prior to the game when former Niner Eric Reed, who is a new Panther, got into it with Malcolm Jenkins. There's obviously a huge backstory here. Eric Reed was the first guy to protest along with Colin Kaepernick, still is kneeling for the anthem. And Malcolm Jenkins was also part of that. But Malcolm Jenkins was doing some talking with the NFL on that subject that Eric Reed did not agree with. And I guess that carried over because there were some comments in the offseason. And they got into it. Reed had to be separated and taken off the field. And he was asked about it after the game.
You exchanged words with Malcolm Jenkins. Explain what that was about.
No.
Does it have anything to do with the disagreement about the Players Coalition?
He's a sellout.
Why do you say that?
Because he's a sellout.
Is that what you told him?
Yes.
So Eric Reed did not want to talk about it. Props to the reporter, by the way. We often get on them. Props to the reporter for following up. Do you want to talk about what happened before the game? No. Okay, well, then that's it, and you move on, except the reporter did respectfully push and got Eric Reed to say he's a sellout, and I told him he was a sellout. Okay, well, that's a big deal. Here's more on Jenkins from Reed.
I believe Malcolm capitalized on the situation. He co-opted the movement that was started by Colin to get his organization funded. It's cowardly. He sold us out. He was corrupt from the jump. He knew what he was doing from the onset. His goal was to sell us out, and he did that.
Wow. I'm not smart enough, nor am I in a place to comment on that, other than there's some deep stuff going on there, obviously, between the two of them.
Yeah. There is some very heavy stuff that goes back a long way. And I'm guessing that every time there have been athletes involved in civil rights movements and issues, I'm guessing we've seen this level of kind of both sides.
Sure.
And so that's why I think this is much deeper than two individual men who don't like each other or have a disagreement. I think this is a very big picture dispute they have.
Well, and Malcolm Jenkins took a high road on this one when asked about Eric Reed.
I'm not going to get up here to say anything negative about that man. I respect him. I'm glad he has a job. I'm glad he's back in the league. Leave it like that.
He went on to say in a clip I don't have that anybody whose heart is in the right place, who's doing what he thinks is right, is somebody that I have respect for.
Can we just real quick go to Zach Ertz trying to stick up for Carson Wentz and get dipped?
Carson Wentz gets a little bit of a tackling going on, and let's see. It was Ertz coming over and rushing Eric Reed, correct? Mm-hmm. Eric Reed just drove him. He just ducked under him and flipped
low
Zach
man wins.
Ertz like nothing.
I don't know what Ertz thought was going to happen there. Because he went in way too high. Like he just kind of was running full speed at Eric Reed, and Reed just dipped him. That was tough. Tough look for Ertz.
I look at that look for Ertz much like I looked at, who was it, Brandon Knight? I always get it mixed up with the Pistons who got dunked on by DeAndre Jordan. Was that Brandon Knight?
Yeah.
Okay.
R.I.P.
Like, they get killed on social media for that, but you know what? Thanks for going there, Zach Ertz.
Oh, for sure.
Heart was in the right place.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
You got dipped and you're a meme.
Right.
But the heart was in the right place. You did what you should have done.
No problem with what he did. It's just funny.
From the 916, haven't seen The Shining for some reason. Now I have a reason. Thanks, Dave. Well, shame on you, because that's the scariest movie ever created.
Wow, imagine having not seen a movie.
Yeah, and don't see The Shining like the version with the guy from Wings. The only acceptable The Shining version is the one with Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall. The game itself, Kyle, the Panthers and Eagles, was actually quite the game. The Eagles were kicking the you-know-what out of Carolina.
Extra big on the offensive line.
They go with motion. Corey Clement, Wentz, rolling, looking, firing, and has caught. Touchdown! Goddard, his second touchdown of the season, the second of his NFL career. Wentz to Dallas Goedert.
17-0 was the lead for the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. But I don't think. Well, what happened there? What did the Eagles to you get complacent? Or is Carolina better than we think?
We talked about this earlier this year when we were just kind of talking about Super Bowl contenders and how the Panthers, you just kind of always feel like can beat anybody on any day because of who their quarterback is.
Sure.
Their defense stepped up big time yesterday, too. And as long as Luke Kuechly is on the defensive side for them, they're an intriguing defense.
Who is the play-by-play voice for the Eagles? Is that Merrill Reese? I know was that the radio we were hearing?
Yes. Yeah, NFL only has radio. Or team radio.
You and I disagree. I like him.
I don't have a problem with his calls. I think he does a good job. His voice grates on me.
Really?
Oh, the hammer.
See, I actually found myself, because Kyle said in my ear his voice grates on he grates on me. And it's funny you said that, because at the exact moment you were saying that, I was listening to that call and saying, that's a really good, smooth play-by-play call. I'll show you what I mean.
Extra big on the offensive line.
They go with motion. Corey Clement, Wentz, rolling, looking, firing, and has caught. Touchdown!
Good. No, the call. I have no problem with the mechanics of the call.
Calm, great mechanics.
I have no problem with that. It's literally just the sound of the voice.
I think also part of the problem is that God, why am I forgetting who was the old voice? It was the Chunky Soup voice too. Harry somebody.
Harry Callis?
Yes, who was just.
Oh,
he wasn't
amazing.
John Facenda, but if John Facenda was the voice of God, then Harry Callis is the voice of one of the apostles. Like he was just so damn good at what he did.
I went to a Phillies game where they gave out a Harry Callis statue. Mm-hmm. And I somehow, between holding them for friends who then all departed to different areas of the country, I wound up with like 5 of them.
Oh, did you? You still have any of them?
I've got a couple of them somewhere.
You should bring one in.
Yeah, we want one for the studio?
Absolutely. So anyways, it was 17-0 Philadelphia, and then Cam Newton got busy finally finding his tight end Greg Olsen, who's back from a foot injury.
Third down and goal, the 1-yard line. Man hurts, wiggle motion. Newton fakes and throws end zone. Caught Olsen. Touchdown at the top of the S in Eagles.
Was that the Carolina call?
Yeah. That was definitely Carolina.
Had to be, right?
Yeah, it had the twang. Maybe the Eagles call was just, maybe the highlight cutter guy, the Eagles guy grates on him a little bit.
Dude, that makes those A's calls we picked on look like they all drank Monster Energy drinks. Cam Newton comes back, leads them back from 17-0 to then against the defending Super Bowl champions. They go up 21-17 late in the fourth, and this is what you get.
Third down and goal, the 1-yard line. Man hurts, wiggle motion. Newton fakes and throws end zone. Caught Olsen. Touchdown at the top of the S in Eagles.
That's the worst thing I've ever heard.
It sounds like just lost a Super Bowl.
It sounds like the road team.
Touchdown. They lose.
Touchdown in 21-17. Oh, my God. Dude, quit your job if you
How
don't
much
like
time was
it.
left?
It was late.
It didn't say in there?
It was absolutely late in the game. Because
I would do that when I was doing baseball at Sac State. I would have that happen where you're looking and they're going 3rd and 1. So let's see. Carolina scored with 1:22 left. So you're looking and you're going, okay, 3rd and 1. If they get in the end zone here, how many timeouts? You start looking at game situation.
Sure.
And you just kind of lose track of the fact that they still have to get into the end zone. And so in your mind, you've made up, okay, they're in the end zone here. Now you're looking at the situation. Mm-hmm. And so when they score, you're just like, oh, yeah, the thing I thought was going to happen happened.
Yeah, that's bad play by playing.
Not good.
No.
Yeah, because it means you lost focus of what was actually happening.
You lost focus of the big picture.
Right. There's going to be a commercial that after that call, you can take a step back and go, okay, the Eagles are going to get the ball with this much.
Right.
So when you're narrating this game, you know how to narrate it.
That's very, very disappointing. Panthers end up getting a big stop to ice the game.
4th down and 2. Wentz has the snap, a low snap, but Wentz is looking, and Wentz cocks his arm, ball's loose, ball's out of there, still loose on the field, picked up by Peter, now he loses it, and it's recovered, and the Panthers are going to win the game.
The Carolina Panthers are going to win.
His own color commentator is saying, dude, literally.
Dude, figure it out.
His own color commentator's on him.
The Panthers are going to win the game.
The Carolina Panthers are going to win this game.
Ooh, listen to the boos in Philly, too.
They're on the road against the defending Super Bowl champions. They just came back from 17-0.
For what it's worth, they haven't looked like the defending Super Bowl champions.
Who cares? They were down 17-0.
Hey, you want to do power rankings?
God. What is wrong with you? Yeah, let's do power rankings. I want you to hear this, though. The Chicago Bears and Patriots went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Patriots had a nice little lead. Mitch Trubisky was signaling to the sideline that he would have no problem throwing the ball all the way into the end zone. He was right, except for a yard.
3rd down and goal, the
1 yard.
Not that. Line of scrimmage, the 45-yard line, Bears territory. The Patriots sent everybody back inside the 15-yard line pretty much. Big pressure coming as he slides left. Trubisky now sets to throw. Arches it deep, down the field, into the end zone. White's the catch, turns toward the goal line, and he is denied at the last second. He is not going to get in. He caught the pass, got about the 1-yard line, turned and was stonewalled by the Patriots.
There you go. Bears caught it at the 1. It was a Kevin Dyson Super Bowl type situation. Just a couple inches.
Tough for guys named Kevin at the 1-yard line.
Yes, it is.
And it was one of those situations where he'd never held the ball out to try and get over the line.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure. I saw the replay a bunch of times. I'm not sure there was ever an opportunity for him to do it. It was a good job by the defense to wrap up and get him away from the end zone.
You want to do power rankings, huh?
Yeah, let's do power.
Right, you want to do power? Let me get you want my power ranking music here?
Well, because it's Kings, not Kings, Giants Falcons.
Yes.
Tonight. So I don't think any of them are going to break into our top 5.
I don't get it. All right, let's start 5 through 1. Kyle, go ahead.
Starting at number 5, I've got the Patriots sitting at number 5 right now. Number 4, I have the Chargers, and the Chargers are sitting at 4-2. Their only losses have been to the Chiefs and Rams, who we'll get to a little bit later. The Saints are sitting there at number 3. They lost their first game of the year in a game they could have won. And they haven't lost since, and they seem to be kind of hitting their stride. I've got the Chiefs at 2 because, as we talked about earlier, the top 2 teams in the league are the Chiefs and Rams, and I think right now the undefeated Rams have that edge. So they're number 1.
I'm with you almost everywhere, except I've got your point is well taken about the Chargers. It really is, and I fully admit I could be wrong here. But it was between the Chargers and the Vikings at the 5 spot. I know the Vikings have a tie and a bad loss in there to the Bills.
And a too close of a game against the Cardinals at home.
My issue is just if I have the Vikings playing the Chargers on a neutral field.
You were looking at the Vikings last year. You were letting last year creep in.
Damn it, I keep doing
The Vikings this year have not been that good.
Well, all right. You convinced me. Fine. I don't know, man.
Here's for what it's worth. They have Washington can certainly be in the conversation.
Sure.
The Panthers can certainly be in the conversation.
Sure.
But like I said, the Chargers, if you're looking at just this year, their only 2 losses are against the top 2 teams. As a 10-point loss in week 1 against the Chiefs and a 12-point loss in LA against the Rams.
Pats number 4, Saints 3, Chiefs 2, Rams 1. I think that's pretty cut and dry. I'd like to personally thank the New Orleans Saints, though. They're now 5-1. They have won 5 in a row after losing to Tampa Bay at home in the first game of the year, which was my knockout league. So I picked the Saints. The 1 week out of all these weeks, I picked the Saints, and was the 1 week they lost, and that loss was at home to Tampa Bay. Hey,
yikes.
Two things that caught my eye, Kyle, by the way, football over the weekend. Number one, and they both came from the same game. Number one, we were talking about biggest surprises in 4-down territory. One of those big surprises, I think, has to be Houston Texans are 4-3. They've won 4 in a row.
Yeah, and they've got a quarterback playing with like a bruised lung or broken lung or whatever the heck Deshaun Watson's dealing with. He has gotten beat up this year.
They were so concerned about his lung that they put him on a bus for a 12-hour ride from Houston to Jacksonville. They didn't want to fly him, which I thought,
the air pressure.
Which is funny to me because I even tweeted. I was like, "Dang, dude, that's your franchise. Like, you couldn't like get an Uber. You put him on a Greyhound." To which everybody responded like they didn't put him on Greyhound. That's what I thought. Like they threw him on a Greyhound.
They're like, dude, good luck. Hey, here's $20.
Right. Good luck. Have fun. Nah, they put him on. They probably put him on one of the Madden cruisers.
Oh, he was definitely one of like 3 people. It was him, the driver, and whoever he wanted to hang out with for 12 hours.
Where is the Madden cruiser, by the way?
I would guess in a garage somewhere.
Wouldn't that be a fun thing to buy, like for an RV? Like if you could buy the Madden cruiser just to cruise around the country, you'd obviously want to change the look.
I'm guessing they either use it for something or it's in a museum somewhere.
I want to find. Somebody's got to know. Where's the damn Madden cruiser? He's not using it. At least not to travel for games.
That's what you think.
They've won in Indianapolis. They beat the Cowboys, the Bills, and then they went into Jacksonville and beat the Jaguars. So, really, if I'm going to go back, I said my biggest surprise of the weekend is Justin Tucker. But my biggest surprise of the weekend probably was Jacksonville losing at home to the Texans.
Something we have to talk about with that game is Blake Bortles got pulled.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Their offense has been so bad. They've scored 14 points the last 2 weeks.
They've scored 28 points the last 3 weeks. They've scored 40 points the last 4 weeks. 46 points in the last 5. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I counted a 31-point win. They scored 6 points against the Titans, 14 against the Chiefs, and 7-7 versus the Cowboys and the Eagles. That's not good.
Blake Bortles yesterday, 6 of 12 for 61 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. He was also their leading rusher with 6 carries for 30 yards.
Blake Bortles is sneaky, one of the greatest rushing quarterbacks of all time.
For real.
Like, for real,
it's
he
incredible.
Actually is. If you look at the numbers, and they blew me away when I saw them, I think it was about a year ago.
Yeah, we did that on the show.
Did we do that on the show?
Yeah.
It's like Michael Vick in numbers when you look at like his yards per carry and what he does.
It's
Blake
amazing.
Bortles? Yeah, dude, I don't know what's going on there other than the fact that they have lost 3 in a row. And rolling into that Chiefs game, that was quite interesting. Then they get destroyed. They have gotten beaten 60-14 in their last 2 weeks, and then they play the Eagles. Now, Kyle, I'm going to tell you something. Doug Marrone.
Yeah, it's the Jaguars head coach.
If they lose the Eagles, he's getting fired. They lose the Eagles, he's getting fired.
I disagree.
You're probably right.
But he could. Like, it wouldn't be unjustified.
This team was supposed to, at the least, go to the AFC Championship, and they were a bona fide Super Bowl contender. Makes you wonder about re-signing Blake Bortles, doesn't it?
Yeah, but they got him for relatively cheap, considering what quarterbacks go for these days. You have to figure they're going quarterback round 1.
How would Derek Carr do in Jacksonville?
Better than Blake Bortles, for sure.
You and I we wouldn't do better. Hey, you know what?
No.
We wouldn't do better than Blake Bortles.
No.
We'll take a break. From the 916.
6 of 12 for 50 yards.
From the 916. What is power rankings? In the NFL, it's called standings. Some people go through life like that, Kyle. Did you know that?
Imagine.
That's their life.
Imagine just waking up
they do.
and going, I'm going to turn on a morning radio show.
Mm-hmm.
And when they give their power rankings, I'm going to yell and call them standings.
It's the same guy that last night was like, guys, it's one win, okay? The Kings are still bad, okay? Don't be that guy, okay? As we take a break,
It just so happens that the power rankings and the standings in Week 7 just kind of line up.
Ladies and gentlemen, your public service announcement from the Drive on Sports 1140 KHTK. Don't be that guy.
Don't be a jerk.
Everyone knows of that guy.
If you're like, am I about to be that guy?
Yeah, don't be it.
Then don't. Hey, be that guy and go to break.
Sacramento Kings win last night. Denver up next. We'll talk about it next, right here on Sports 1140 KHTK.
This is Kyle Madson with your top stories. Not my top stories. They're yours on Sports 1140. The Sacramento Kings got their first win of the season last night at Oklahoma City, downing the Thunder 131-120. Iman Shumpert had a team-high 26 points. De'Aaron Fox posted 22 points with 10 assists to help lead the way for the Kings. Marvin Bagley, he also had a good game with 13 points and 7 rebounds. Sacramento gets tonight off before they wrap up their road trip in Denver on Tuesday. The Nuggets, they are undefeated and coming off a 198 win over the Warriors. The 49ers, they did not win yesterday. They got blown out actually at home, 39-10 against the Rams. It was their second worst loss at Levi Stadium. Todd Gurley racked up another 3 touchdowns for LA. He now has 14 on the season. Week 7 of the NFL wraps up tonight with the New York Giants in Atlanta to take on the Falcons. We'll have that for you right here on Sports 1140 with kickoff slated for 5:15. Those are your top stories, and now it's back to the final half hour of the Drive right here on Sports 1140 KHTK.
Here we go. The Drive continues now.
Kings win. Kings get their first win of the season. And it was against Oklahoma City in Oklahoma. I love it. How can you not love it? This team has looked very good in 10 of 12 quarters this year. Kyle, what did I say? I want to just get back to what we were talking about in the preseason. Imagine if this team was thought by all of us local cats to be a team on the verge of contention. Definitely in the playoffs, but maybe more. We'd be looking at these first 3 games and be like, thank God they beat the Thunder 1-2. That's a great start. Who's getting fired? Look how happy everyone is. Nobody's content. There's a difference. It's 1 win. But we thought this team was going to suck so bad. By the way, they still might. And by the way, they still likely will. You see what I'm saying? What are we talking about? We're happy about 10 to 12 quarters. We're talking about moral victories. We're ecstatic over a win in Oklahoma City. We're looking at numbers with Fox and Bagley. People are talking about Willie Cauley-Stein. Here was a tweet that just happened from one of the Sacktown royalty guys, Tim, who I don't like any of them, but he's okay when it comes to some of his basketball takes. Most of his life takes, like all those guys, are just, they need to be in rubber rooms. It's only been 3 games, so it's a small sample size. But if Willie Cauley-Stein continues to play at this level, the Kings need to absolutely retain him this summer. If he's still putting up similar numbers near the All-Star break, a non-lottery first-rounder wouldn't be enough return for me. This is going to be an interesting conversation all year, especially if he's doing this stuff. I like Willie as a person. I'm starting to like him a lot more as a player. I don't trust it a millimeter.
It is a 3-game sample size.
And a contract year, of which he said before the year, hey,
trying to get paid.
I'm trying to get paid. Well, what were you doing the first 3 years? I understand development. I understand I understand growth. My worry is this. Here's the deal with Willie Cauley-Stein. Barring injury and barring some sudden fall off a cliff, Kings fans, please understand this. Willie Cauley-Stein is going to get at minimum, 4 years, 4 years, $60 to $70 million.
Minimum. That is like bottom of the barrel. There's no free agent market for him.
Correct. He will get $460 in his sleep.
Yeah, but easily.
Now,
in fact, I would take him at $460
on the Kings.
Yeah.
I'm good. Man.
Did you see Jason Concepcion's tweet?
I did not.
He just tweeted sometime during the game last night. I think it was when the Kings made that late push. The Thunder had gotten it closed, but then the Kings opened it up to like 10 late in the third, or late in the fourth, I mean. He just tweeted, the Sacramento Kings are good now.
If I am Vlade, I am ecstatic with the way Willie is playing, and I am doing everything I can to package him with somebody for either a first-round draft pick this year or a 3. A 3 that has at least a couple years left on his deal. That is not just serviceable, but that is decent enough. Maybe a 3, a 3 that somebody, a big contract, somebody wants to get rid of, whatever. Not just any old 3, though. Don't get me wrong. And it's nothing personal. I just don't trust. I don't trust it. And I don't want to. And by the way, it would be one thing if it was Willie and nothing. But you also have Harry Giles and Marvin Bagley as your big men. That's your core of big men for the future, in my mind. So if you can start a Giles and a Bagley, and you can maneuver Willie for a 3, oh, you take that all day. Now, of course, Willie will probably go to the Spurs or something and be a 20-12 guy for the next 10 years. Of course he will.
Naturally.
But what is somebody arguing you with about moral victories on the text line for? Are they arguing with you?
Someone's arguing with me?
Not sure why you keep saying last night was a moral victory. A moral victory is normally when you play very good against a good team but end up losing. We won on the road, so it was just a good win. Are you saying something in your update? Moral victory?
No.
I'm trying to think of where we said last night was a moral victory, but last night was a victory.
Got their first win of the season last night.
Yeah.
Team high. Marvin Bagley had a good game. Sacramento gets sent it off. You
have to read the whole update.
I'm just
I got you. You just read the whole
am I saying it? This is Kyle Madson with your top stories on sport. Well, I was saying it out loud to see if maybe there was something I was saying that sounded like it.
Wow.
But no. I don't know. We mentioned that at the top of the show. Maybe they're listening to the podcast?
Yeah, maybe. That might be it. Very interesting matchup for the Kings tomorrow. I think this will be an insanely difficult matchup for them. And I just want to, again, prepare Kings fans, if they're not prepared already. The odds are you're not getting Iman Shumpert to drop 26 points. And can we come around a little bit on Iman? Again, it's a small sample size. We keep saying that as a disclaimer before pretty much everything we say. But can we look at Iman Shumpert and go, I did not expect Iman Shumpert to have 26 points on 9 of 13 shooting and 4 of 7 from beyond the arc. He had 40% of the Kings' three-pointers made last night. I didn't expect that not only in the first 3 games of the year, but throughout the year at all. For example, in August, trivia question, will Iman Shumpert score 26 points or more at any point this year? I think 90% of Kings fans would have said no. And the other 10% were smoking those vape pens.
Or had a name that rhymed with Splat Spolorge.
Oh, Matt Georgia. I was like, wait, what? Yeah, I got you. Nemanja Bjelica has looked fantastic this year. He was 5 of 6 yesterday in 31 minutes. Kings shot 55% from the field.
Can I drop some? I know you're not big into like advanced stats and analytics and stuff, but can I drop something on here?
Give me some Vorp or War or Carmelo
just
or
relax,
whatever
dude.
it is. Come on, Hollinger, what is it?
If the Kings continue to shoot 45.5% from 3 every game, I think they're going to win a lot of games. No, I know your first instinct is going to be like, no, watch a game, but that's just a like empirical fact.
It's not my first instinct is to agree with you 100%. I'm gonna go.
Why you think stat head?
I'm gonna go a step further there, guy. I have the King. Once again, by the way, the Kings starting five. The Kings starting five was a combined plus 48 last night. They were all in the plus column, plus 48. Now, in the game against the Pelicans, they were all in the minus, but it was 1s and 4s and 8s, although Buddy Hield was minus 18. But when you go back to their first game of the year, if we really want to go stat heady on you, and you look at that game against the Jazz, remember that bench lineup was actually quite much. They were the ones that weren't doing well. The starting lineup for the Kings in that loss to the Jazz, when they lost by 6, was a combined, 57, 29, 39, 59, 58. No, 67. In game 1 versus the Jazz, the starting 5 were plus 67. Everybody was in a plus last night with the Kings in that starting 5. That's interesting.
Ben McLemore, plus 5 in 3 minutes.
Has Wenyen Gabriel gotten any run yet this year? I don't think he has.
No.
He didn't last.
I don't even know if he was suited up last night.
He didn't last night. I don't think we saw him at all versus the Pelicans.
Scalabus, 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm. And Scal at 8 minutes against the Pelicans. We want to do Nostradamus tomorrow in this next segment, or do we want to wait? Your call, Kyle.
Let's wait.
You want to wait till tomorrow? Okay.
Yeah, just so I have time to cut it up.
All right. When we come back, we'll go around the NBA a little bit, the NFL as well. We got a lot of stuff to get to in a very short time. We'll give you your what's on tap for tonight. It's a drive at Sports 1140 KHTK. All right, let me bring this on the air. Kyle and I are having an off-air conversation. I'm going to bring on the air right now. Because we do have the football game tonight, the Giants and Falcons right here on the Sporty 1140. Was at 4:45 pregame, 5:15. As Kyle said, your 5:15 first pitch, which he was making a joke because it's not first pitch, it's kickoff, it's football. So I started thinking, they don't have the equivalents necessarily, so let's make them up. Which is a rank in order of difficulty to look good doing. First pitch in baseball, throwing out the first pitch. If there was a ceremonial first throw in football where you had to throw, you threw the football, let's say it was a 10-yard pass to a receiver, or like the ceremonial jump ball where you had 2 centers, you get in the middle of them, and you have to throw it up as straight up in the air as you can. Rank in order, and I think I have an idea here. Rank in order of the number 1 would be easiest. Number 3 would be most difficult.
So easiest to most difficult?
Yes.
So this is obviously going to vary from person to person.
Sure, just on average.
For me personally, the easiest one, I'm going easiest to hardest?
Easiest to hardest.
Easiest would be the first pitch.
Okay.
Because I played so much baseball growing up. I play softball now. The act of throwing a baseball is easy for me.
Mm-hmm.
Football would be second. Because if I get a couple of warm-up tosses, I know I can get a football 10 yards.
Sure.
And I can pretend like I know what I'm doing, even though I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Throwing a jump ball is like, that gives me anxiety watching people try and do that. Like the idea of throwing a ball straight up in the air.
Do you think referees have camps and practice this?
Oh, for sure. They have to.
I know they practice. But I want to know the extent of the practice.
Huge credit to the ref in the Kings Jazz game.
Yeah, that was tough.
Because he threw that sideways,
He did, and it was good of him to call it, and this is just one of those things where you couldn't really blame anybody. If I was Quinn Snyder of the Jazz, and I said this, if I was Quinn Snyder, I would be livid because by the time the whistle blew, his superstar Donovan Mitchell took a hard foul and crashed to the floor on the ensuing break.
Yes.
But the referee said, I had to blow the whistle late because I didn't have my whistle in my mouth. And you go, well, hold on. Why didn't he have his whistle in his mouth? Because when referees throw jump balls, they put their whistle in their pocket so that they don't have a whistle in their mouth and have a 7'4" elbow come down on them busting their teeth out and perhaps killing them because they choke on the whistle. So the referee didn't do anything wrong. That was standard procedure. What I would rather see, though, and this isn't the referee's fault, this is the rules' fault, is you should have other referees, because there's 3 per game. You should have another referee in position behind that ref on the baseline. And when the toss-up is egregiously bad one way or the other, that referee blows the whistle. Now, that might incur some referee-on-referee crime where you don't really want to blow the whistle and blow your guy up. But he's going to have a better angle, and he'll have the whistle in his mouth. I think that was just a procedural issue.
Yeah.
Anyway, I agree with you on the jump ball. I think it's by far and away the hardest. Gonna disagree with you on football versus baseball first pitch. And as a guy who played a ton of baseball and not a ton of football.
As a guy who turned a triple play.
I don't like
unassisted triple play.
I don't like bringing that up all the time, Kyle, but you're right. I did as a young prodigy. I'm going to say football, and I'll tell you why. Really, it's this simple. It's half the distance. You got 60 feet, 6 inches. Let's call it 55 feet because they're not standing on the mound. That's still almost...
I'm on the mound, dude.
I don't think they let you. Do they let you go on the mound?
Of course.
Okay, fine. That's 60 feet. 60 feet. Let me do some math. 3, 6,
20 yards.
It's 20 yards. You're throwing a football, you just got to throw a football 10 yards? Throw a football 10 yards all day. Strike.
I know that I am just liable enough to, have my hand want to do a baseball throw, and that football comes out sideways.
I mean, but when I asked this without any maliciousness.
Sure.
Are you like that? Are you that bad at throwing a football?
No.
Is that just
no?
Okay,
I
you're
throw
not.
dimes.
Okay.
Dude.
Okay.
In intramural flag football, this is a big deal. Everybody, I'm laying out my athletic credentials here. When I played intramural flag football at Sac State, people asked me where I played in high school. So, I'm kind of a big deal.
Were they asking that because they were like,
that
program
wow,
sucks.
Need to never send my kid to that school.
So you think that you would throw more strikes from the pitcher's mound if you had, let's say, 20 than you would good chest passes with a football 10 yards?
No, you say strikes.
I'm saying
like actual, in the strike zone strikes, are just respectable, oh, cool, you got it to the plate.
Let me flip it around then. Don't you think it would be more likely that you would bounce one, toss one high, or in other words, let me put it this way. Which do you think is more likely? I'll give you 20 first pitches in baseball and 20 10-yard throws in football. Which is more likely to happen in those 20? The catcher having to come out of his stance at some point to grab your throw for baseball, or the receiver having to take a step one way or the other, or even jump to grab your football? I feel like it's baseball.
You're probably right. But I think to make it fair, you have to go 20 yards then, right? 60 feet?
That's why I said 10 yards. If it's 20 yards for football and it's the same for baseball,
yeah.
I'll take baseball. Yes. I would then agree with you on the baseball.
What's wild is when I played baseball, it's 90 feet, and I was playing year-round, and I was a catcher, and the throw to first base was nothing, but then you get on a football field, and you're like, dude, 30 yards is so far.
It really is. Well, you've also got a much bigger, more difficult ball to throw in a football.
Right.
Baseball is much easier to throw than a football. Right. Oh, you want some breaking news real quick before we leave?
Yeah, please.
Sources inside the Sacramento River Cats organization tell us exclusively on Sports 1140 KHTK that when the first pitch is thrown out at Rayleigh Field, they are not allowed on the mound.
Oh, wow.
Just got that news. Here, let me take your theory real quick.
People at A's games throw from the mound, so.
Well, and it's also known as the maybe worst place to play in the history of baseball. Wow. First pitch.
That's why it stinks.
That's why it sucks right there. Cause
it was great stadium, except that first pitch.
First pitch. This is a question from the peoples. Would you just toss it in or actually try and pitch a hard strike? I would say in the middle.
Yeah, I've thought about this a lot. It depends a lot on my warm-up time.
Mm-hmm.
If you give me like a full 10 minutes of warm-up, I'm throwing shed. I'm humping it up 55 miles an hour, 60.
You're really going to throw full speed?
Not like 100% first pitch, but I'm not going to be guy that just people on video can watch this here. I'm not going to be guy who's just
winding up or barely wind
just
up.
Small leg kick and you just kind of you gummy worm arm the ball through. That's lame.
Well, let me tell you,
put a little chat on it.
As somebody,
I want to coach baseball. Let's coach a baseball team.
Somebody who has thrown
great content.
A ceremonial first pitch.
Cool, dude. Really cool, man.
I nailed it. I threw about 70%.
That's right about probably where I'd be. 70-75%.
Strike. It's on tape too. Yeah.
I'm proud of you, man. That's awesome.
The best thing I ever did, though, I dropped the ceremonial first puck at a Stockton Thunder game. And, bro, I dropped it perfectly.
Just nice,
They had a red carpet so you don't slip on the ice, and all I was thinking about was I was going to slip on the ice. I had my dad out there with me.
Nice, dude.
You just go out there, you drop the puck, and then the two hockey players, roll their eyes and, pretend to, touch the puck like they're,
yeah, cool.
And then you shake their hands, and they hand you the puck.
Where is that? Is that in your man cave?
Oh yeah, no, it's in my man cave. So is the first pitch from the Rivercats game.
Nice, dude.
I was there with other former members of this morning show, the original incarnation, one of which had a very flattened bill. Let's just say none of Nate Goodyear also threw a strike. He was part of that.
Of course he did.
Myself, Nate, Little Joe Pittman, and Keith.
Sacramento softball legend.
All right. We're going to have much more coverage of the Sacramento Kings win last night and some football as well. Damian Barling and Jason Ross will take you at noon to 3 right into Grant and Doug. And they'll have all that stuff. Jim Rome is next. Don't look for any Kings talk there. For Kyle, for Eunice, for all of you, we'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. right here on Sports 1140 KHTK. Kings win. Bye-bye. Near.